Oh, is it on? Okay. Yeah. All right, it looks like people are starting to join. Hello, welcome. I'm going to give it another minute or two, and then we will dig in. Oh, Family Advocates is on. Yay. Again. Okay. Hi, Family Advocates. So cute. Oh, hi, Becca. All right. It is 10:01, so we will get started. So hello, this is Hot Takes. Welcome. If you don't know already, Hot Takes is a live that we do on YouTube and Instagram where an employee of our agency, 116 and West, goes live every month to answer your questions about our skills and expertise and about agency life in general. Today, you have the pleasure of having me as your host. My name is Emily Del Favero, and I am the digital account director at 116 and West. I've been here for almost 4 years now, and I've been in the industry for about 13 years. A little bit about myself. I moved to Boise about 5 years ago, and it's where I call home now, and also my home at 116 and West. I really enjoy what I do, and I feel so grateful to have this opportunity with you all today and very humbled. So thank you for having me. All right, let's dig in. Question number one, how did I end up in my current role? I like to think it was a lot of luck. Growing up, I wanted to be so many different things that I never had one specific goal. And I went to college thinking I was going to be a basketball player. Imagine that, a baller. And I think it was my passion and my competitiveness that led me into a marketing career. So I majored in marketing, and I minored in advertising, public relations, and journalism. And then it just kind of went from there. I was very blessed and fortunate to get a job in marketing right after college, which I think not everyone has the opportunity to do that. People throw around marketing and sales so loosely that a lot of my colleagues and friends were getting jobs in sales. So I was very lucky to do that. I worked for a very small company, and it was nice because I got to learn a lot of things really quickly. I worked for a small mom and pop shop in the steel and sheet metal fabrication industry. And so I got to plan our trade shows and do some graphic design and, believe it or not, web development. Kind of scary, me, a developer. But kind of everything all over the spectrum of marketing. I even got to work with an agency on some of our larger projects, which was really fun, seeing that side of agency life as the client. And then from there, I worked in the corporate world for a while for big companies, GNC and Route 21. And that's where I really worked on marketing communications and event planning and campaign planning. And then after that, I moved here to Idaho, and I got to experience working for the government for a little while. I was at the Idaho State Department of Agriculture, and there I got more into the digital role, and that's where I really wanted to be. And so with them, I managed our website, and I wrote a lot of content. I managed our social media channels. I managed our paid digital campaigns on social media and Google and things like that. So that's kind of where I started to find my love for the digital realm of marketing. And then from there, I was lucky enough to land the job at 116 and West. And here I manage our digital team and our production schedules and our timelines and our budgets. And I'm the liaison between our digital team and the clients, and I manage those client relationships and pretty much every facet under website development and digital marketing. So that's how I got here. And I also think that my experience in the past doing really terrible graphic design and web development, it allowed me to have a very realistic view on the time that it takes things, which helps me to set client expectations. It helps me to create our budgets and our scopes and our timelines. And so I think having an understanding of almost every role that comes into website development, including, strategy and copywriting, has really put me in a good place for where I am today. Okay, let's see. Thank you, Becca. I am a baller. All right, what is my favorite part about leading the digital team? This one was hard because there are a lot of favorite things, but I'd have to say that I just love having the opportunity to work with really smart, really creative, just really fun human beings. The best part is we work hard together, and we have a friendship together. And I think too, we've been together now, most of us, for almost 4 years. So we kind of have this gel and this understanding between each other. And I think another great thing about working at 116 and West is we really pride ourselves on our culture. So when we hire new people, they fit in seamlessly. And that's just been so awesome to learn new things from all these really smart people that I work with. And they also challenge me every single day to be my best self. And then we push each other to grow as a team. And that's just really awesome for me in my role, and to see us grow also together as an agency and as a digital department. And I also like doing just really awesome work that makes our clients really happy. All right, what's one thing you wish clients knew before they start the website building process? So when I first read this question, I thought, well, if they don't know what to expect before we start the process, then I did not do my job correctly, because that is a big part of my role. It's setting the client expectations. It's walking them through the process before we even begin, setting the timeline expectations, the budget, and all of those things. So they feel really comfortable about working with us, and they know what to expect along the way. So if we take it a step back and maybe we answer the question from the perspective of, what do I wish clients maybe knew before working with an agency or working with 116 and West? I would say that really good websites that function well on the front end for the user and then on the back end for the client so they can update it easily, that are strategic, that incorporate best UI UX practices, that are really creative and beautiful, actually take a lot of time and a decent budget. I think the time piece, honestly, is probably the one thing that they don't realize. And when we say that we are a collaborative partnership, we truly mean it. We take our partners through the whole website process, and they work with us along the way. We acknowledge that they're experts in what they do, and we're the experts in what we do. And it's our job to learn as much about their business as possible, so obviously we can understand and make the best recommendations, but also that we're going to need to hold their hand along the way, and that they're really going to be almost an extension of us. We work really closely together. And I think sometimes, they might want a website really fast that incorporates a lot of functionality and highly technical requirements. That just takes a lot of time. And so I wish that maybe that's something that they knew. I think that's something they learn once they come into the agency and they get to know us and we walk them through their process. And that's something we explain. But I think at first that comes as a little shock. And I also think that Squarespace and Wix and some of those, drag and drop do-it-yourself templates have made it more difficult for us at agencies who might take a little longer, might cost a little more, but I think the benefits and the rewards are much greater on the back end. So that would be what I think. All right, we got a question here. I'll take a live one. How do you deal with situations when what the client wants deviates from what 116 recommends? Actually, that is an awesome question, and I was going to cover that later, but I will cover that now. That is one of the biggest challenges, I think, of this role. And what it takes is coming up front, doing our research, making our recommendations that are backed by statistics and strategy and website best practices. And a lot of the times, all it is simply sometimes the client being too close to their own business, which is so understandable. I think what we need to do is ask them to step back and always remind them the why of the project. This is about their audience. This is about getting the audience to do those things that they want them to do, whether that is call them and contact them for a consultation or make a purchase online. We're typically trying to convert their website visitors to their customers or supporters or whatever it is. So I think when that happens, it's just a conversation and explaining why we are recommending what we're recommending, showing them, the research that we did to back the recommendation, and then asking them questions from their site users' perspective, like what would their site users want? And I think it's finding that balance between all of that. And normally when our clients challenge us, it brings us to better solutions and better outcomes. So that's what I have to say about that. So thank you, Becca. Okay, next question. What are your favorite / least favorite kind of websites to build? So I would have to say my absolute favorite are the projects that the client is super excited about. One that they feel so passionate about and they're committed to, and that also makes our team really excited about it as well. And when we have that kind of relationship and energy around a project, it just creates this partnership of fun, trust, and true collaboration. And I think when that happens, it doesn't matter if we are building a website for waste management, which isn't the sexiest thing to do, or we're building a website for a cookie company. I think when our clients are excited and happy and in the spirit of collaboration, that gets us really excited and jazzed up. And when my clients are happy and when my team is happy, I am happy. So those are definitely my most favorite projects to do. And I guess my least favorite would be anything that isn't my most favorite. No, just kidding. I think that honestly, I am grateful to work on all of our website projects that we are able to bring into the agency. And I think even some of the most difficult and challenging projects that I've worked on have allowed us to grow so much as a team because they present challenges that then enable us to look at ourselves, look at our processes, maybe even find some weaknesses and improve them. We always walk away from the hardest work with the biggest learnings. And for me, I think if those projects didn't happen, we might be inclined to maybe settle in our comfort zone a little bit and just, always giving ourselves little pats on the back, feeling good, which is awesome. But I think it's the really hard work that not only pushes us to be our best, but it allows us to have the most growth, not only individually, but also as a team. So that's my answer to that one. What is the biggest challenge I face in my role? So this kind of goes back to the question that Becca asked about managing the expectations and bringing everyone back to the why of the project and the scope of the project. So I think in my role specifically, because I'm always trying to manage expectations for our team and our clients and be the communication that gels the two together. So I think the biggest challenge in my role is helping our team and our clients find that balance between the strategy, UI, UX best practices, which includes accessibility, creative, functionality, and all within a specific budget and timeline. That is the big key to this. So I think from the agency perspective, our team gets so excited about doing the work and they love what they do and they're super creative and they want to do all these cool functionality things. And I have to remind them, like, whoa, we also have to deliver this site within 3 months. Is that accomplishable? Probably not. So does that mean it's out of budget? Absolutely. And I feel like I kind of have to be the party pooper a lot, always bringing everyone back to some of the goals of the project. And that's a hard role to be in. It's very crucial and necessary, but it's not the funnest place to be when I'm always the bearer of bad news. And I think from the client perspective, exactly that, when they have this idea or a photo that they really want to use on the hero of their website, and it's a beautiful woman and it's a giant photo of her face. But when you think about best practices and that photo scaling down to mobile or tablet and being responsive and potentially having a call to action over her face or some words, it's difficult to take their dreams away from them and, backed by best practices and strategy, explain that we really shouldn't use that photo. It's a beautiful photo. We can use it somewhere else on the site, but we don't recommend that it is your hero image. And so I think it's just that. And I think we learn that firsthand as an agency, how difficult it is to be in those client shoes, because we went through a rebranding process last year, which included a new website. And we had to have so many tough, challenging conversations. We went through so many different rounds of creative and finding that balance between what our audience wants and staying true to ourselves and to our brand and how we want to put ourselves out there in the world is extremely difficult. So I think we all got a little taste of what it's like to be in the client's shoes, which just makes us more empathetic as an agency. And it's not easy to be in either seat, whether you're the UI UX designer, the content creator, the developer, or the client. So I think me trying to be that middle, the balance between the two is probably my most challenging role here. How do I go about project management when the client is disorganized? Any tips? So I think we all are disorganized in some fashion or manner, although if you know me, I think all of my teammates would disagree and they think I'm the most organized human on the planet. And so, when clients come in, we don't expect them to have it all together. That's why they're coming to us. They're looking to us as the experts. They're looking to us to manage that production schedule, to, manage the strategy, do the research, and work on the creative, and then build it and have it look amazing. So I think that's why I'm here for a large portion of my role, is to get the clients organized. And I think that the tips to that are, one, being very organized yourself. I think we have worked on a process that is tried and true, and we found it works really well for us and our team and our partners. And so setting those expectations, having really good communication, showing them the timeline and deliverable schedule and making sure we're in agreement to that. Because I think one of the other things that's a challenge is sometimes the client doesn't realize that they're going to get an opportunity to review the creative and they're going to have feedback. And my point of contact might need to show other members of their team, and they need some time to review it. And then they need some time to get back to us. So what might potentially be in the timeline, we're thinking, 1 to 2 day turnaround, ends up being 3 to 4 days. And that just adds some days and time onto the project deliverable schedule. So I think just being very transparent about, here's our schedule, this is what's going to take. Can you commit to and agree to these dates? If not, let's rework it to make it fit for everyone. And then creating tools along the way. I think another one of the biggest challenges for our partners is writing copy, which obviously we are a full service agency, so we do write content too. But especially when it's an industry that is brand new to us or very technical, and we always need the clients to tell their story to us first. So they sometimes have difficulty writing the content for the website. So we've created a tool here that is a content guide, and it simply will go through the website as you would see it live. So when we go through our wireframe phase, which, if you are unfamiliar, is basically the strategy of the site and how the user will experience your content, and without any design elements, without any fonts. So it's not the most appealing thing to look at, and it's probably not the most exciting part of the process for the client, but it is one of the most important. The strategy sets up everything else that's going to happen on their website. So we will set up this content guide that will walk them through whether we want, a power statement on the hero, the call to action, a small paragraph here, a headline here, like a little bit about your company here. And so we set that up, and then we create a collaborative document that they can enter that text in, and we can share, and we can review, and we can edit. So I think having those tools and just processes up front and explaining to the client what to expect is really helpful, and it helps them organize their thoughts, their content, and what they have envisioned for the site, and helps us to communicate more clearly between each other as well. And I think also for me, I set little reminders to check in with a client. It's also very helpful to perhaps have a weekly check-in day. So every Wednesday you're going to check in with the specific client because they're busy. They have a lot of things going on. Sometimes it's difficult for them to put their website as number one priority, even though it's a very important part of their business. So I think it's just giving little gentle check-ins and nudges, reminding them, like, here's where we are in the process. This is what we need from you. Here's what you can expect from us is important. All right, I have a question from Michael Wanling. What tips would you have to working on a project that needs a quick overhaul based on current events or a natural disaster? How relevant is that? I think in those instances, we would do our best to work with, let's start from the CMS, the content management system that they're working in. So most of the time, we like to build our sites on WordPress. However, if a client has a Squarespace site or a Wix site or whatever that is, I think we can take any CMS that they're working in, and as long as they give us the credentials and the ability to update the site, we can work with anything and figure out ways to make some updates, whether it is creating an alert banner on the top of a website because they're a medical center and they need some information or news about COVID that then takes them to a page with more information, or perhaps changing out some of the images on their site, but just being very flexible and nimble enough to work with some of the things that the clients already had in place. I think that happens a lot for us. So I think it would depend on the issue that's come up. We need to understand why they want to make these updates, and then make the best recommendations in that fast timeline with what we have to work with. And sometimes, it's not always the most ideal situation, but I think a lot of just open communication and understanding the why first, and then being able to just make things happen as quickly as possible, working with the limitations that we might have. All right, next question. And this is actually the last question, which is great. I thought I might have talked forever and gone way over the half an hour, but I'm nailing it right now, so feeling good. What is the best way to keep up on new design slash functionality technology? That's a good question. I think one, personally, just staying curious, asking yourself when you're in the middle of a project, if you're always doing something the same way over and over and over. It's so easy to just get caught up in the tools that we use every day and the processes that we have every day. Maybe just asking, like, is there a way I can be doing this better or faster or easier? And so staying curious constantly about what you're doing yourself every day. And then also, I would recommend signing up for some of the newsletters and blogs and things like that so you can get that right into your inbox. And maybe just booking a little bit of time during the week. Maybe it's a half an hour, you read a blog, or there's something that you've been meaning to look up that you want to know more about. So you just do a little bit of research. Also, social media. I tend to get a lot of little tips and tricks on social media, or then because I'm the type of person that goes down a rabbit hole on social media, so I'll see like a beautiful post and I'm like, ooh, what's this company? And then I research them and I'm like, oh my gosh, they have an amazing website. And oh my gosh, look at what they're doing. And then I'll send that to the team. I think also sharing what you learn with your agency or your company or your team, because they might be super interested in it too, even if it doesn't apply directly to their role. And just, yeah, so sharing things that you learned with your team. I learned so much every day from every person that I work with in this agency. And I think it's fascinating to learn things even outside of website development or any kind of digital project. And I think because we are full service, we do it all, that it's great to see sometimes the perspective of other roles and what they have to do in their job and how it all ties together. Because at one point, I almost work with every person in the agency before a website goes out the door, even if that's sending it to another AE to test on a PC because it looks different on PC than it does on a Mac, and all of those things. So yeah, I would say stay curious, ask questions, challenge yourself, and do some research. Sign up for blogs, newsletters, find companies that you think are doing a really great job and follow them. I follow, other big agencies and small agencies just to see what's going on out there and look at their work, look at, your inspiration and your competition, I think. Aw, thanks, Danielle. Well, that's it. I have 3 minutes left, so I did not go over the time, which is a good thing. If anyone else has any other burning questions for this hot takes, you may ask now or forever hold your questions. All right, I'm getting a lot of claps. 100, thank you. All right, well, awkward is also part of my brand. So I will do you all a favor and not allow you to just watch me stand here. So I'm just going to thank you all for joining. I hope that you found this helpful. Maybe you learned something. If not, maybe you smiled or laughed. And I hope you all have a great week. And tune in next time. Subscribe. Yes, do that thing that we want you to do, which is subscribe. And hopefully you'll tune in for our next expert within the agency with Hot Takes Live. So thank you. Bye. How do I do it?
Hi, everyone.
Hi, it's Cassie.